Are you struggling to stay consistent with your manifestation practices? If so, we've got Operation Manifestation Transformation. 3 months going all in on yourself. In March, we've got The Magic by Rhonda Byrne. In April, it's all about abundance. Universe, show us the money. And May is May I Believe in Myself. Self-love, self-worth, and confidence. If you want to join a community of like-minded people, join Operation Manifestation Transformation at pauspenny.com. What's up, the Manifest movement? Let's go. Let's get straight into it. First up, I want to tell you about 2 things that I loved this week and just the meaning behind them. But today we're going to talk about signs and we're going to talk about dreams. I'm reading Matt Cook's book, Beyond Wanting, and he's got a chapter on signs and in it dreams. So I want to talk about that. And then secondly, I just want to share some things as we start. Okay, so first up, I'm watching this documentary, Jim Carrey and is it Alan? So he's showing a movie, Jim Carrey, that he did back in the day, a documentary on another real life comedian. And Jim Carrey is that person in this movie. And it's on Netflix. And I am telling you, go and watch it, right? It is so good. Jim Carrey behind the scenes is talking a lot about, in this day is talking about manifestation and mindset. But one thing he talks about that a lot of people would have heard before is, number one, he talks about his dad being an accountant, but he wanted to be something else. Like I think he was like a saxophone or a jazz player. And when he was 51, his dad lost his job as an accountant. He was made redundant. I think they ended up like homeless, cleaning out. They were like janitors and cleaners of a high school. And Jim Carrey talks about, you can fail at what you hate, right? So think about that. You are in a job, you are in a corporate career, and you don't like it. You can fail at that too, because you could be made redundant. I have been made redundant twice. And I am so grateful that the second time I was made redundant, which was in September 2025, that I had already started my passion of moving forward with manifestation. Because if I hadn't, I would be right now in the job market looking for something. And it's hard. Like, it's not that easy to jump into another job. Like, the market is tough out there at the moment. So remember this, and I am not telling you to quit your job. What I'm saying is, if there's something that you are really passionate about, if you have a dream, that dream is not going to go away. Stop waiting and start taking action on it. I was laughing at myself the other day. Not that I would recommend this, but like this just goes to show what a mover and a manifester and an action taker I am. I launched my business, my manifestation business, 1 month before I had my twins. 1 month. I wasn't going to wait. Oh, I'm going to wait until they're a year old. I'm going to wait till they're in school. I'm going to wait till I have all of my kids in school. If I had waited, I wouldn't be on this momentum, right? And then I got asked for my pitch deck recently and to include some of the corporates that I've worked for. And I was looking back on it. And over the last couple of years, I have been in I'd forgotten, like massive corporates, AIB Bank, LinkedIn, top law firms, Siva Logistics, American Holidays, the Beacon Hospital. And that is all because little by little, I started taking action. Another thing Jim Carrey talks about is, and I really, really believe this with my whole heart and soul, when you become your authentic self, when you feel like you can really be the person that you are, that is when the universe will move and shift things for you. And that's what Jim Carrey did. He just became that version of himself that talked about manifestation, was his full authentic self, not trying to be somebody else. And the whole movie world, opened up for him. And we all know he wrote that $10 million check. And he talked about it. He talked about it on Oprah. And I guarantee you, a lot of people would have been like, he's crazy. He didn't care. So the second thing that I want to talk about rolls back into this as well, is I saw on Nicole Neuroscience's Instagram page. Now, Nicole Neuroscience, her name's Nicole Vignola, was on my podcast as well. And she wrote a book called Rewire, and she's writing another book at the moment. And she talks about when the universe challenges you. She doesn't call it the universe, but when you are challenged in life and you start saying things like, why me? Why me? And she talks about in this post about reframing it to, what is this opening space for? Right? So if somebody has, like the girl that I talked about recently who had the engagement ring, trying for a baby, had the house plans, and then the fiance ended it all with her. If everything feels like it's falling apart, what is this making space for? That was not her person. Maybe it's making space for the right person. Even I can look back now on the loss of Polly, right? And I have to say to myself, if it wasn't for that loss, I would not be sitting here today. I would not be talking about manifestation, because that was the thing in my life that totally shifted my perspective on life, because it gave me that dose of reality on death, right? Like, and I just thought, oh my God, like, Yvonne, what do you really want to do with your life? So start taking steps to do it. And I did, right? And it also reminds me of, there was a third thing that I saw on social media that said, if you knew you were going to die, what would you do? Would you follow your dreams? Like, what would you do? Would you travel more? Would you start that singing? Would you put yourself out there? Would you be a bit more brave? Would you have more courage? Would you believe in yourself? And then the post said, well, you are. We are all going to die, right? And I know this sounds totally and utterly morbid, but ask yourself right now, am I happy? Am I happy with my life? Am I happy with the way things are going? Because I know what I can say for sure right now is I am happy. I am happy that have moved into manifestation. I am happy with the way things are going. I couldn't say that last year. I wasn't as happy because there was so much going on between the corporate law world and this career, this doing manifestation. I wanted to move out of it, but the timing, it came in perfect timing. And recently I've been talking a lot about numbers and signs and numbers. And I say, I am very familiar with 444. It's the one that I saw when I was the baby. So it's all about trust. I'm going to tell a story about that. 555, I kept seeing, is all about change. And I kept seeing that right before I was made redundant. And 9, I finished up in law in September, the ninth month. I think it was September 19th. New beginnings and endings. 9 is all about endings. So listen to the signs. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about signs and dreams. In Matt Cook's book, Beyond Wanting, he has a chapter 12, on signs and dreams and intuition and being guided. You are being guided. You just need to wake up to the signs. Wake up. They are all around. But you have got to trust that they are assigned for you. And you have to pause when you see the sign. People are to say to me, I see 222 all the time. Like, yeah? Well, what were you thinking about when you saw 222? I don't know. Well, it means nothing then. You're just randomly seeing these signs. You're becoming aware of the signs, but the next step deeper is pause. What was I just thinking about right there? Because I know that when I start to see signs, I really pause and reflect on what the sign means. Like I'm going to go back to when I was trying for a baby, but this applies for everything. You are being guided by the universe. You are getting signs, synchronicities, and people coming into your life. And you might not realize it at the time, but once you become aware, it might start clicking with you. So I'll give you an example. When I was trying for a baby and I was really, really struggling, I went on a yoga retreat. At the yoga retreat, first thing happened to me was a girl came up to me, and an older woman, and said to me, "You are going to have twins. I don't know if they're twins, like actual twins, or if they are Irish twins, as in they're born very close apart, but twins are in your future." And I was like, wow, she didn't even know I was trying for a baby, and she didn't even know I was manifesting twins in my mind. That was a sign. There are no coincidences. It was an absolute sign. The next thing that happened was a friend of mine sent me, when I was really in despair, the Gabrielle Bernstein talk on fertility and trust and letting go. That was a sign. It was all about listening to what she had to say, about trusting. And then the third thing was I kept seeing the number 4 everywhere. It was 4 everywhere. And funnily enough, right, everything has come down to 4s for me. I got 4th time lucky, and I had my little boy, my first boy. I have 4 children. So 3 boys and a girl. So I have 4, and the twins. And I had 4 losses. So 3 miscarriages and the late loss of Polly. So it's all the number 4s. And for me, 4 is all about trust. So if you're seeing that 4, 4, 4, it's trust, right? And I also really believe, for me, because you have to figure out what these signs mean for you too. Whenever I see the 4s and I'm thinking about something like expanding the business, or should I do this, should I do that? And it's like, trust, it's all going to work out. It always, always, always works out even better than I could have expected. Every single time, it works out even better than I could have expected. So when you get the signs, whether they're angel numbers 111, 222, 555, 777, you start to see a repeating robin, or somebody sends you something, you overhear a conversation that maybe you needed to hear, somebody tells you about a book, I think you should read that. You are being nudged by the universe. And trust. Looking back, I wish I trusted the signs. I wish I trusted the signs and knew that it was all going to work out for me, because it is all going to work out for you too. I wish I trusted, because I swear one of my biggest regrets in life is this, that I spent so much time placing my joy on when I'll have the baby. When I'll have the baby, I will be happy. And I did not enjoy the present moment. Lots of vacations, I was just sad. Like my husband always says, it was like there was a dark cloud over me. You know, I was newly married. It should have been the best time. Looking back, I'm like, oh my God, we had so much free time. We had 0 kids. We could do anything, go anywhere. And I'm just in total despair. It was such a hard chapter of my life. So I want you to become aware of the signs, number 1. And number 2, think about when you do see the signs, think about what you were thinking of just prior to that, and start taking notes about them. Like open up your phone page and start taking notes. Oh, I saw 111 and I was thinking about, should I start a podcast? Or I saw 555 and I keep seeing it and I'm wondering, am I in the right job or should I have a change? Like, start to write it down, start to become aware, and you will start to be guided by it. Now I'm very guided by the signs, and I actually make a lot of my decisions based on gut feeling and the signs that I'm going in the right direction. So another thing that Matt talks a lot about in his book is about dreams and like allowing dreams to guide you as well. He talks about this a lot from the perspective of him wanting to buy a house. And in his dream, he he was bidding on a house. He wanted this house, and then it was taken, and then he in his dream, he could see this house that he absolutely loved, but it was only for rent. And then when he woke up, he was telling his wife, Coruscant, about the house, and she said, "No, no, no, like, I am not renting. I want to buy a place." And then all the fours started to come up, like it was 44, 44 in their bill. They went into shop. They saw a lady with a 444 necklace. So Coruscant was like, okay, let's give it a shot. Let's rent out this house. They called to rent the house, and boom, it was gone. And Matt was like, universe, what are you doing to me? I have this dream about this house. I finally convinced Coruscant that we're gonna rent this house, move to Cornwall, rent the house until we get our dream home. And now it's taken away from me. So the house is no longer available. And a couple days later, he gets a call, and it's the real estate agent saying, "Matt, are you still interested in that house? It's the other renters have pulled out. I've called a couple of people, nobody answered, and you're the first person to answer." And boom, it was the house. And it was the exact house that he saw in his dream. And I think subsequently they went on to buy their own home. Yeah, I think they did that, right? So in his book, he talks about uh, using your dreams as ammunition for like your intuition, and he says, before you go to bed, repeat to yourself, I'm going to remember my dreams. I'm going to remember my dreams. I'm going to remember my dreams. So I've had a couple of dreams that have played out. And I've talked about this before. I've had a few. One was I had a dream when I was pregnant with Polly that I went into a scan, and the doctor, it wasn't my doctor, said, "I'm sorry, but there's no heartbeat." And that was why I was so worried about going for my anomaly scan, because I had had this dream and this intuitive feeling. And I look back on it, and it played out exactly as I dreamt. It played out exactly that way. And I now look back, and I almost feel like it was like a knowing that this was going to happen. And I feel like in some ways it was protection, because I think I would have gotten, if I didn't have a feeling at all or a knowing, might have gone into total, I was in shock, but I think it would have been way worse. So I think actually the dream may have protected me a little bit. Then I had a dream in the August about standing under the cherry blossom trees, the baby, and I was standing under all these cherry blossom trees, and I messaged my friend of mine, and I was like, this is so weird. I had this dream about cherry blossoms. It was a couple months after the loss of Polly. And she said, cherry blossoms, like cherry blossoms trees, they come and they go quite quickly. They're a season. So it's like the cyclical nature of life and death, and it's about new beginnings. And long story short, all of my baby pictures with Penelope, I found out after that dream I was pregnant. And I was pregnant with Penelope, and all my baby pictures are with her under these cherry blossom trees. So I really believe it was another kind of premonition. I also had a dream one night that I saw a little boy, and he had really, really curly blonde hair. It was right before, it was right during the time that I was having all these miscarriages, and I was really struggling. And this boy in my dream had blonde, curly hair, and he was 3 in my dream. And the very next day, I got on the dart to go out to this herbalist. I was taking, let me tell you, when I was trying for a baby, I was taking every sort of herbal tea potion going that's good for your body, right? Her name's Kira, the herbalist, and she's in kind of Booterstown, Blackrock. Anyway, she's phenomenal. And I got on the dart, and I saw what I thought was this little girl that was the image of the child in my dream. It was the exact child that was in my dream. Really, really blonde, curly hair. And but I had seen it was a boy in my dream, even though he had long, curly, blonde hair, really blonde hair. And I said to the dad on the train, how old is she? And he said, actually, it's a boy, and he's 3. And I was like, oh my God, I saw this child in my dream last night. And now I have a 3-year-old boy, and he has blonde, curly hair. So I do think that our dreams can help us on our path and our journey. But so I was like, okay, so I need to start remembering my dreams, because you might think that you forget your dreams, but it's a skill, like Matt says in the book. It's an actual skill to remembering your dreams. And one thing that I do remember is that after the loss of Polly, a lot of people can't sleep after such horrific kind of grief like that, but I slept so well. I think I went into I'd go to bed and I'd hit the pillow and I would fall into this massive, massive deep sleep. And I couldn't remember anything from it. And a lot of the time when you are sleeping, you're like, the purpose of it is like, it's helping you process as well, process everything that's happened. But Matt says in the book to say, I will remember my dreams tonight. I will remember my dreams tonight. So I've started to do it, and it's wild. I am starting to remember my dreams. And the very first night that these last couple of nights, I've been doing it since I've read the book. The very first night, I dreamt that I was in Matt's house in Cornwall, and we were talking about manifestation. And then even last night, I dreamt I was talking to a friend of mine all about Ibiza and going there, because I had asked her just previously before I went to bed, are you coming to Ibiza in July? So my dreams, I don't think, are really telling me too much at the moment right now in this space, because they're kind of reflecting what's going on in my life. But start to write down your dreams and become aware of them. I really now, because of my own dreams that I've had, the premonition of the baby passing, me under the cherry blossom trees, all of that, I really do believe that you can connect into your higher self and that future through your dreams. And I really do believe, I always say at night, like, Polly, please come to me in my dreams. She never does. She never does. So I don't know. But I do believe people can step into your dreams that way. I really do believe it. So the signs, the dreams, they are another manifestation tool to help you on your journey. And finally, what I said in the beginning, please don't let your life slip by and not do what you're really here on this earth to do, following your purpose. Don't let it all slip by. Ask yourself the question, am I happy with what I'm doing? And if you're not, start making those little changes, whether it's starting to bake because you love to bake, or to sew, or to knit, or to get into a podcast studio, or start writing your poetry or your book. Just take little steps to get there. Until next time, manifestors, whoop whoop, dream big, believe it's all happening for you, because it's a fact. See ya.